So, let's talk about a puzzle. This isn't just any puzzle, though. It's one that massive companies all over the world are trying to solve every single day. And the stakes? They're huge. The secret to solving it? A little bit of math. And it all kicks off with this number, $200 million. I mean, just look at that. And this isn't some made-up figure. It's the actual amount of cash that a giant like Procter & Gamble started saving not just once, but every single year. Okay, so you have to wonder, right? How on earth does a company save that much money year after year? You might think it's some brilliant new product or a crazy expensive ad campaign, but nope, it's something way more fundamental than that. The answer? It all comes back to that giant logic puzzle we mentioned, one that's buried deep in the heart of their supply chain. And you know what? Today, we're going to solve a little piece of that puzzle together. Yeah, this puzzle actually has a name. In the world of math and business, they call it the transportation problem. Sounds a little dry, I know, but trust me, it's this super interesting mix of supply, demand, and, of course, cost. So let's just break that down. The goal sounds pretty simple, right? All you gotta do is find the absolute rock-bottom cheapest way to ship your stuff from your factories to your warehouses. But here's the catch. You can't overship from any single factory, and you can't leave any warehouse empty. Easy to say, incredibly hard to do. Honestly, the best way to picture it is like a massive game of Sudoku, but for a global company. You've got this huge grid of possibilities, a bunch of rules you absolutely cannot break. And somewhere in all that chaos, there's just one single perfect solution, where all the numbers line up just right. All right, so if we're going to solve this thing, we need to see all the pieces on the board. Let's start by mapping out the costs, because you're about to see just how complicated this can get really fast. Okay, check this out. This one little table basically shows you the entire puzzle. Over on the left, you've got our 3 factories, our plants, and how much stuff they can make. That's our supply. Down at the bottom, we've got 4 distribution centers and how much stuff they need. That's our demand. And all those numbers in the middle? That's the really important part. That's the specific price tag for shipping just one box from any of those plants to any of those centers. And when you actually map that out, whoa, it just explodes into this crazy-looking spider web of routes. See, every factory could ship to every warehouse. And the key thing to remember is that every single one of those lines has a different cost. The number of possible combinations you could make is just mind-boggling. And that leads us right to the big question. With all these options, what do you do? Do you ship from the closest plant to save on gas? Or maybe the plant with the lowest production cost is better? How in the world do you juggle all these different costs to find that one perfect combo that saves the most money and keeps everybody happy? Okay, so this is where the magic really starts. We've laid out the problem, we see how messy it is. Now let's find the answer. Let's look at the optimal shipping plan. So here we are, back at our puzzle grid. I mean, just look at all those variables. If you tried to solve this by hand, just guessing and checking, oh man, you'd be here forever. And you probably wouldn't even find the best answer. It's too much for a human brain to handle. But this is exactly what computers were made for. You can use a powerful algorithm, one that's built for exactly this kind of puzzle. It can chew through every single possible combination in a split second and find the one perfect answer. And bam, this is it. This is the solution. Look how clean and simple that is. All that mess, all those possibilities we saw before, gone, replaced by one single perfect plan. This right here is the aha moment. So what this is, really, is a set of crystal clear instructions. It's literally telling you, ship 10 boxes from plant 3 to center 1, ship 9 boxes from plant 2 to center 2. And just as important, it tells you where not to ship, like from plant 1 to center 2. There's zero guesswork. Every single decision is optimized for cost. And a result? When you follow this plan exactly, your total bill comes to $20,200. And that's it. That's the bottom line. It is mathematically impossible to do this any cheaper while still meeting everyone's needs. Okay, so solving this little puzzle is cool, right? Saving 20 grand is great. But how does that turn into the hundreds of millions we talked about at the beginning? Well, let's zoom out and see how this one little puzzle becomes a massive global strategy. Because for a company the size of P&G, this wasn't just a thought experiment. When they took this exact same math and applied it to their entire North American supply chain, well, it did a lot more than just save a few bucks on shipping. It completely changed the way they did business. The impact in the real world was just staggering. First, you've got that headline number, over $200 million saved every year. But get this, it went way beyond that. They discovered they could actually shut down 20% of their factories in North America and still get everything to everyone on time. Can you imagine? The savings from that alone were huge, and it made their whole system way more efficient. And this quote really sums it up perfectly. The project was so successful that this whole field, they call it operations research, which is basically just the science of using math to make better decisions. It became a core part of how P&G operates. It wasn't a one-off thing. It became part of their DNA. So that kind of leaves us with a final big idea. This kind of math-based puzzle solving, it is happening all around us, all the time. It's how airlines schedule their flights to be as efficient as possible. It's how power companies manage the electrical grid. It's everywhere, which really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other huge complex puzzles are being quietly solved with a bit of math right under our noses every single day?